One thing that I notice a lot in character animation is foot sliding, and it really stands out to me. And it can be a little bit frustrating animating a character, getting it to stick to that ground plane perfectly, because it can be a little bit of a guessing game. But I'm going to show you how you can nail it every time and not have to fuss around with trying to figure out what is the appropriate distance that it needs to travel. The tool that we're going to use for this is Matchrate from aescripts.com. Now this is a name your own price script. These things all take time to create and maintain. So if you use this and it's helpful to you, I really encourage you to pay for it to help the developer out. So let's take a look here in After Effects how we use Matchrate. We're going to use this rig that I made. I was testing out Hot Dog from AE Suites. Hot Dog is a limb creation tool, and I really like using it because you can get a lot of stylized elements all in one layer. And so this is entirely made up of Hot Dog for all the limbs, even the body. Let me know if you'd like to see a tutorial about that. I even created a script that makes it easier to duplicate limbs, since the default way isn't all that elegant. Do a ramp preview, we can see we just have him walking, and we're going to be interested in this left ankle right here. So let's take a look at this. The area where it's in contact with the ground is just between 0 and 12 frames. And if we take a look at this, we can see that that is linear, which is typical for a walk cycle, for a standard walk cycle. And we want to know the speed between the start and frame 12 here. So let's bring in Matchrate here. And so I can select my two keyframes, the section that he's in contact with the ground, and say get rate. Obviously this is all in a pre-comp, so if we take a look, we can see all the layers here. I'm going to go ahead and delete my keyframe for the X position, and we can put them anywhere to start, and I'll just have them start off screen here a little bit. And then I'm just going to move out here, and let me back up. Let's go ahead and set a keyframe. And I'm just going to come out here 3 seconds and see where he lands at this time. So using Matchrate here, we're going to go ahead and invert this value because the foot was going from right to left, but he's going to be moving from left to right. So let's go ahead and invert this. And we're only concerned about him moving along the x-axis. So let's go ahead and with X position selected, let's click on Apply Rate. And so now when he moves through here, let's do a ramp preview, we can see that he's sticking perfectly to that ground plane. Now, he does not leave the frame all the way, so if we want to fix that, let's just come out here to 4 seconds, and I'm going to delete this keyframe, and I'm going to select X position again, and I'm going to go ahead and apply rate. And if we look at our ramp preview, we can see that he's sticking perfectly to that ground plane. So Matchrate works out really well to help get those feet sticking to the ground plane. Now, what if, let's go ahead and delete this keyframe. What if, let's bring him out here. What if the scale is not 100%? So let's bring his scale down to, let's just say 50%. Since he's a pre-comp and maybe we need him a little bit smaller in the main comp, let's reveal position and let's also show scale. So scale is at 50%. So here we just need to change our percentage to 50%. And then I'm going to come back out here to 4 seconds and let's move him off the screen, and I set a keyframe on accident. So let's move it like so, 4 seconds, and we're going to go ahead and apply rate. And we have to make sure we have X position selected, apply rate. Now he's smaller, and so it's going to take more time to leave the frame, but you get the idea. Let's go ahead and do a ramp preview, and we can see that we have him sticking perfectly to that ground plane. So Matchrate is, like I said, it's the tool that I use to nail those walk cycles, get them sticking to the ground plane perfectly. Okay, so this works out great, but what about walk cycles where the contact with the ground is not linear? Let's take a look at this. So like I said, our keyframes for contact with the ground plane, they're linear. Here's an example where they are not linear, and if we take a look at the graph editor, I used Art to apply a 50% ease out and ease in. So with this, you can just adjust the slider and you can make adjustments to the ease in and ease out. There's also other modes using keyboard shortcuts. So this is a really fun tool that I came up with. I like it because it's nice and minimal, but let's take a look at how we work with this variation in time when it's in contact with the ground plane. We're going to do like before, we're gonna get the rate, and let's go ahead and bring arc back in here. And let's go to our export window. I'm gonna turn off our original. Let's bring in the variable. And we're just gonna leave him at 100% here. Let's take a look at position, and let's go ahead and separate the dimensions. You don't have to, but I like to for this case. And let's go ahead and set a keyframe for the X position and move him over. And let's expand our work area here to 4 seconds. And let's go ahead and actually not 4 seconds, because since this is variable, we have to take a look at the time that it's in contact with the ground. And so it's 0 to 12 frames. So a little bit different here. We're going to come out here to 12 frames, and we're going to apply our rate. Now, I just made a mistake, forgot to invert it. So let's go ahead and invert our rate and apply the rate. So if we look at this, it does not look good. Okay, but we know that there's a 50% ease from this keyframe to this one on the ease in and out. So let's just select them. And with arc here, I can just click on the 50%, and it's going to apply that easing to both of our keyframes. And if we take a look now, we had that in perfect contact with the ground plane. Now, we could just do this again, come out here 12 frames, and we could apply our rate, and then we'd have to apply the same ease to those keyframes. Okay, so we could keep doing that every 12 frames, but we could just use an expression here, and if we use this loop out duration and put on offset, it's just going to take care of all the work for us, and it's going to just repeat the distance every 12 frames. And if we do a ramp preview, there we go. We have him walking through our frame, sticking perfectly to the ground plane, even though we're using a variable rate. Hopefully that'll help you get your characters sticking to that ground plane right out of the gate. Thanks for watching, and happy animating.